Another night where I try to flee these pain-filled eyes. A red man stands by my side. He says, son, don't you know I can make you fly? Lean a little closer and I'll tell you a secret. Let us make a deal, now you can take it or leave it. Well, I only ask for your heart and your soul. I hear you whisper like a thief in the dark. I hear you whisper like a thief in the dark. But we can't steal our light when hope guards our heart. You can't steal our love, you can't steal our light. Break down on the bench outside. Friend to the left, you can tell I'm fried. Running around the bright casino floor. Mascara face behind the bathroom door. Oh, looky, looky, here I have an empty temptation. Falling up the stairs, the signal, surely she's wasted. But I can't say no when this feels oh so right. Is this the story of my life again? I hear you whisper like a thief in the dark. I hear you whisper like a thief in the dark. But we can't.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of BSing Sports here on the BSing Network. As you can see, Ryan was having technical difficulties and was unable to join me this evening, so it will be just me. Ryan's in the background. He's still my technical manager here. I assume he'll be putting his picks in as we go along. But yeah, so again, anybody who hasn't been following along, first of all, thank you to Orphan Rivers for the intro music. I appreciate you, Scotto. If you have not checked out Orphan Rivers, go check him out on Bandcamp. And also, we have to, Ryan, if you could do it real quick for me. We are sharing the YouTube website clip to click on, whatever it's called, URL. We're going to share that to Twitter because we are no longer streaming live on Twitter. We said this was coming. We are moving forward probably next week, going off of Facebook Live. We will share the YouTube link. Link was the word I was looking for, link. I will share the YouTube link and yeah, so like I've been saying the last few weeks, Ryan has been saying the last few weeks, Jake has been saying the last few weeks, we appreciate every single one of you listeners out there. And the watched hours on YouTube are extremely important to all of us. So if you guys go on over to YouTube and give us the likes and the shares and the subscribes there, we'd really appreciate it. We are also available on Twitch. If you want to do it on Twitch, that's just as good. So yeah, let's get right into it. I did this a few weeks ago where I had to solo it. So let's get started. For those of you following along, we are doing a gentleman's bet. Loser has to wear a team that they despise as gear on an episode. Right now, the total standings are Ryan at 241 and 197 in first place, me at 232 and 206 in second place, Tim at 231 and 207. Oh, hey Ryan, at 231 and 207. In third place, and then bringing up the rear is Jake, starting to really slip here, 226 and 212.
Welcome back, buddy.
What's up? What's up, Z Money? You seem like you're not lagging, Ryan. Looks like we're good to go.
Yeah, that's why I popped in. Everything seemed all of a sudden kind of kick into gear on my laptop here. So I figured I'd give it the old college try.
Z Money, I gotta ask, bud. We were talking about you last week. Where were you, man? Just a little curious where you were at.
For a few weeks. Yeah. Where you been?
That's right. Yeah, but
CD Lamb is
obviously
just the best man. Makes me smile. Yeah, he is. He is the best receiver on the Cowboys and the second best receiver in the NFC East. You are correct. Behind AJ Brown, obviously.
Yes, I'm still starting a petition that AJ Brown be called Optimus Prime. I'm just throwing it out there. All right. I mean, so going,
they've played well. We'll give credit where credit is due. They have played well, even in the Eagles game. They played well, but there's only one number that matters in football.
It's in the win column. All right.
Steelers hey. I called Jake out for his misspell, and he still didn't fix it. He was on the document when I called him out for it.
How long? What was that, a few hours ago?
No, that was on Thursday night.
That's crazy. All right, well, so since I obviously didn't do a spell check on this, I apologize there. The Steelers at 6-3 visiting the Browns, who are now Deshaun Watson-less. at 6-3. 1.5 points is the spread in favor of the Browns.
We are here every Saturday, 6:00 Eastern time.
Correct.
And there are various other shows throughout the week you can go ahead and check out.
And as a matter of fact, you may as well go on YouTube and watch them anyway. They're pretty good.
If you have notifications turned on YouTube, you won't forget. Go ahead and hit the notify bell.
Yeah, sorry, I'm fixing parts of the document as we speak.
All right, so we've got our first game on the docket. It's divisional rivalry, and to be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised, especially with the way the Steelers have played, that both of these teams are 6-3. However, the Browns more so being carried by their defense, and the Steelers just, I guess, outstanding coaching is probably the reason that they're 6-3. Nonetheless, this game is shaping up to be a really low scoring affair according to Vegas, because we've got an over under of 32.5, probably the lowest over under I've seen this year.
Correct. I get the first pick this week. We're gonna go Deshaun Watson list, but that defense, the Steelers can't score. I'll go Browns at home to cover the 1.5 point spread. Until I see consistency out of this Pittsburgh offense, which we haven't seen in the last 2 seasons, I'm really having trepidations trying to pick them in a divisional game that means so much. Again, both teams are 6-3. Now we know the Bengals are likely out of the hunt. So it's them and the Ravens at this point. So give me the Browns to cover, because again, 1.5 point spread. I'm literally looking at like a 10-7, 10-3, 13-10 type game. So give me the under 32.5 here. Without Deshaun Watson, I don't know if the Browns will be able to score. And even with Kenny Pickett, I know that the Steelers can't score. So yeah, Browns covering the under.
If the Steelers get outgained this game, that's going to be a problem. I at this point, I wouldn't even understand it. So they've been outscored every single game, or outgained, every single game to this point in the season, and they're 6-3. The offense looks abysmal. The defense is carrying the load, and like I said, the coaching out there has been excellent. That being said, I am expecting them to win this football game. I'm taking the Steelers, the road underdogs here, and I am taking the over, actually. I know this is a battle of very good defenses. However, I see one team putting up 20 points, and that being the Steelers, and I think that this actually ends up being quote-unquote high scoring, according to Vegas. And I think the Steelers, for once, actually outgained their opponent.
Yeah, so Jake and I both take the Browns to cover the under. Timmy and Ryan are the Steelers and the over. Next game. Let's see. Sorry, I'm back, bouncing back and forth here. I've got the Cardinals at 2-8 visiting the Texans at 5-4. Texans are 5.5 point favorites. The over under is 48.5. Ryan, you get the pick on this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans. I think that they are the better team. I think they're more complete, which is weird to say. I don't think I've ever said that, ever, even before we started this show. But the Cardinals do have Kyler Murray back. I expect them to put up some points. I built all of my DFS lineups around this game. I expect this game to be a shootout. Highest over-under on the docket, I believe, and rightfully so. I'm taking the Texans not to cover, though. That is strictly hedging my bet because, like I said, Kyler's back. The Arizona Cardinals looked very legitimate last week on the offensive side of the football, and Kyler missed a couple of touchdowns to Rondale Moore and Marquise Brown. So I'm taking the Texans not to cover, and I'm taking the over here. I'm expecting 28 points from each team.
Yeah, I like it. Copy and paste for me. Texans no cover and the over on this one. Timmy also has Texans not to cover and the over. Listen, Kyler Murray looked rusty last week, and it's no doubts about it. Whether it was Call of Duty or the ACL injury, or maybe a little bit of both, Kyler Murray looked extremely rusty last week. So now, having said that, they came out and they got a win. So yeah,
Texans are without 2-week hero Noah Brown. By the way, it's looking likely that he will miss this contest with 3 straight do not practices this week.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, but Texans no cover on the over for me, and Tim and Ryan and Jake took the Cardinals and the over as well. The Titans at 3-6 visiting the Jaguars at 6-3. 7.5 point favorites are the Jaguars. The over under is 39.5. Yeah, I got the Jaguars in this one. I've been slightly impressed with Will Levis. He's made some rookie mistakes. It's clear that he's got a big arm. They don't really have. I mean, I know they got DeAndre Hopkins there, but in Tennessee, I don't really think they have the talent around him for a big arm like that. I think they need to get a really quick wide receiver in there, not named Treylon Burks. And then maybe.
Wait, you mean to tell me Treylon Burks, who barely played this year, isn't sufficient enough?
That's my point exactly, right? So I do expect Will Levis.
Man.
Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, as Eagles fans, we're used to the whiff, especially on receivers.
But we got the strong end of that deal there.
Yeah,
Treylon Burks could have been an Eagle.
Yeah, that would have been bad. 7.5 points for a divisional game still seems like too much to me, so I'm going to take them not to cover. And I've got this game going over 39.5 points, especially after the Jags just lost the way they did last week to the 49ers. I expect them to come out with a little bit of grit and put up some points. So, yeah, give me the Jaguars not to cover and the over on that. Oh, look, Timmy and Jake both took that too.
Well, it's going to be a sweep across the board. This is going to be, kind of a wash game per se. I'm taking the Jags as well, and I'm taking them not to cover. Again, divisional games do get kind of crazy. As my buddy said a couple weeks ago, whatever term you want to use there, records do not matter in divisional games. It really doesn't. I mean, the Commanders took the Eagles to the brink twice, and good solid fashion there. So I expect the Titans to do the same. I expect Will Levis to come out and have a game. Also, the Jags don't really look like they're clicking on all cylinders on offense just yet. I know there's a lot of talk that Trevor Lawrence kind of looks like a bust. I disagree with that sentiment to a certain extent, but that's kind of more so for another show. And I'm taking the over. I think that both teams actually come out, and maybe the Jaguars get right. Maybe they score just enough, but I think that it covers 39.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. We got the next. We've got the Raiders at 5-5 visiting the Dolphins at 6-3. 13.5 point favorites are the Dolphins. The over under is 46.5. Jake's gonna be happy with me because I'm gonna say it. The Raiders suck, but they're 5-5. I mean, they're batting 500 right now. Yeah, Ryan, you get first pick.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins here. This one is interesting. 13.5 points, man. I mean, the Raiders have played some really good football recently, so I'm taking the Dolphins not to cover that. I don't think that there's any way that they cover that with the way that the Raiders have played since Antonio Pierce has taken over as head coach. And I'm taking the over. I like the Dolphins' offense. I like the way that the Raiders have been playing football. I don't think that the Raiders win. I don't really think that this becomes per se a close contest, kind of like I don't predict an Eagles-Cowboys finish here, but I also don't think that the Dolphins win by 2 touchdowns. So
yeah, I got a 10-point victory here for the Dolphins.
7-10, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I've got the Dolphins not to cover in the over as well. They do get Devon Achane back this week, and that kid is fast. He might be faster than Tyreek Hill if we're looking at like the tape.
And Mostert and everybody else on the track team.
Yeah, it's true. So they're getting healthy again there in Miami, and Tua has done pretty well, protecting the football, and that was a big thing we talked about coming into the season. Is if Tua can protect the football, that offense can be dangerous, and they've looked at times. Now they've also looked stagnant at times. The Chiefs game in the first half, and then the whole Eagles game. These are two playoff teams that the Dolphins just couldn't come out and beat. So, yeah. So give me the Dolphins not to cover in the over. Just the Raiders are hanging in and they're playing good football, but they're still the Raiders. And until they get that quarterback position squared away, they're going to be in some trouble. Aiden O'Connell.
It's not just the quarterback; they're just not a talented football team, right? I think 5-5. I'm not going to say they've been lucky because you got to be good to be lucky, but it's kind of smoke and mirrors. I don't really believe that they're that a mid team per se. I feel like they're a little bit less than that, kind of riding the high of the new coach.
Yeah, they did that a few years ago and made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then they proceeded not to hire that coach as head coach. They went with
Yeah,
Josh McDaniels.
that's crazy. That's franchise setting back. But anyway,
next game we got the Cowboys at 6-3 visiting the Panthers at 1-8, 10.5 points spread. Over under is 42.5. Let's see if Z Money's in the comments here. Nothing on this game, Z Money? No, okay.
No, nothing.
It's fine. Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise that I'm taking the Cowboys here. 10.5 points. Man, I got it like a 10 or a 13-point victory, and because of that, I think I got to take the cover. Give me the Cowboys to cover and the over. Listen, the Cowboys against bad teams are playing extremely well outside of that Arizona game. But, it needs to be said exactly that way. Cowboys against bad teams are playing really well. They're kind of like the Dolphins in that aspect. When you go into a game against a winning team, it looks extremely different. Now, having said that, the Cowboys played their best football against the Eagles 2 weeks ago, and the Eagles still won. It's worth pointing that out. The Eagles still aren't playing their best football. I was excited to hear that Jalen Hurts is closer to 100%. That was nice. But against bad teams, Cowboys feast. You're 100% right.
Yeah, I'm
and they're going to
looking
do it
at
again.
D-Money's comments, and he agrees with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you take the over or the under?
Over.
I'm going to take the Cowboys, of course. I'm going to once again break my rule with this team. I'm going to take them to cover. You guys know, if you've been following along, that I don't really like taking covers on double-digit spreads. But again, bad team, Cowboys. Cowboys have dominated every bad team they've faced, minus the Cardinals. I'm taking the under, though. I just don't think the Panthers get the ball moving. I know Frank Reich's taking back play calling this week, so that should be good for all you Adam Thielen owners out there. But, I mean, like 24-10 sounds pretty good. Is that a solid game for Cowboys there?
Okay. Yeah, I can see a 24-10 game. I'm going to stick with the over, though, because they've really been giving it to bad teams. Next, Next, we have the Bears at 3-7 visiting the Lions at 7-2, 8.5 point favorites. The over on are the Lions. Sorry, the Lions are 8.5 point favorites. Over under is 47.5. Your go.
All we're missing is the Tigers in this game. Then we have the Lions, the Tigers, and the Bears. Oh my. Oh my describes what the Lions are going to do to the Bears this week. So I am taking the Lions to cover that spread, and I am taking the over. The Bears defense has been absolutely abysmal, stopping both the run and the pass. And as we've seen, second half of last year, rolled right into this year, Lions offense operating without a hitch, minus against the Ravens, who have just played elite Super Bowl caliber football against everybody, in the last 5 weeks or so. The Lions are just a better team. I know Justin Fields is supposed to come back. It's not really going to make much of a difference to me as far as the outcome goes. It might help the Bears offensively. You fantasy players might actually be excited to watch the Bears offense now, but their defense is just, they can't hang. It's just not good.
Yeah, I'm copy and pasting everything you just said. The Lions look like legitimate contenders. The Bears are clearly in a rebuild and in an interesting spot of a rebuild because they technically thought they had their franchise quarterback, and he just hasn't. I know he was injured for the last few games, but even before that, he hadn't taken that next step forward like people were looking for. So they got some questions there in Chicago. Usually, I say these divisional games end up being closer than they should. This is going to be one of those ones that's not. So I also take the Lions to cover the 8.5 point spread, and I think it goes over as well.
Yeah, I'm taking the exception to that rule here as well. It's the Bears are not a good franchise. They're a terribly operated franchise. And people thought that the addition of DJ Moore was going to catapult Justin Fields like A.J. Brown and Stephon Diggs did for, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts respectively. And it's like,
correct, yeah.
No, that didn't happen. It's not going to happen.
We did it at the same time.
There
we go.
Go
ahead. Chargers at 4-5. I mean, this coaching is killing the Chargers right now. Chargers at 4-5, visiting the Packers at 3-6. The Chargers are 3.5 point favorites. Over under is 43.5. I'm taking the Chargers here. Coaching is hurting this team. But I said it last week, and I will say it and reiterate it on every single show if I have to. I have no faith in Jordan Love. None. Absolutely none. So as long as he's the quarterback in Green Bay, I'm probably not taking the Packers. So give me the Chargers. Give me to cover that 3.5 point spread, even though it's in Lambeau and it's going to be cold, and I think it's supposed to be snowing up there this weekend. Give me the Chargers. Give me them cover, and I think this game stays under because, again, coaching right now for the Chargers is just. I don't know if Kellen Moore is trying to do too much or if he doesn't have enough say because Staley just is terrified of getting fired or something. I don't know, but they got to fix something over there in LA. But yeah, again, Chargers to cover on the under.
Yeah, it is incredible how bad Brandon Staley has been as a head coach. I mean, looking back at the playoff game where they blew a 4-touchdown lead, last week they scored 38 points and still lost. So people are going to point fingers at Justin Herbert, but when you score 30-plus points in a football game, that needs to be a win. Like a period, end of story, that needs to be a win. Looking at you, Eagles, in last year's Super Bowl. Fucking assholes. That being said, I'm taking the Chargers. I think that they score at least 24 points again. And I'm going to piggyback off what you said. I don't like Jordan Love. He played very, very efficiently in the beginning of the season, like unsustainably efficient, like 1 out of every 10 passes, I think, was a touchdown, and that's just unsustainable numbers. So I'm taking the Chargers. Obviously, I think that they cover, right? A 3.5 point spread against the Packers, who look like they're getting Aaron Jones back at full strength finally. I know they've been kind of babying him since his hamstring injury. It's not going to make much of a difference, though. Their best wide receiver, Christian Watson, is a deep threat, and they have a quarterback that cannot throw the football deep. So
Correct,
problematic.
Yeah.
I'm taking the barely under. I'm also going under here. I see 24-17.
There you go. All right, next we got the Giants at 2-8, visiting the Commanders at 4-6, a rematch of a game from 3 weeks ago. 8.5 point favorite to the Commanders. The over/under is 37.5. Listen, the Giants are just in absolute shambles right now. Yeah, you get first pick on this one. Sorry, I'll go into my rant after you're done.
Yeah, I'm not about Danny DeVito right now. Like it's just what are we doing here, Giants? I mean, I honestly think that they should have signed Carson Wentz. They should have signed somebody if they were serious about competing at all. But at the same time, I respect the Giants actually because you look at the situation in in Cleveland, right? The Cleveland Browns drafted Dorian Thompson-Robinson. In the 4th round, they spent their own draft capital to pick this guy to back up Deshaun Watson. And now that it comes time for him to play, they're talking about signing Joe Flacco. It's like, why did you even draft this kid if when the opportunity came for him to play, you weren't going to play him? So I respect the Giants for giving Tommy DeVito his shot because, he was on the team in some capacity, and he deserves at least a chance to play football without, the rumors of somebody coming in and taking his job right away. That being said, it's just the Giants are in shambles. You said it perfectly. This is going to be a massive reset year for them. I think last year, I said this on the show last week, I think last year gave them much different expectations as far as where they were on their rebuild. I think it gave them, false hope that they were a better team than they actually are.
Yep.
Still don't have any weapons in the passing game. It's pretty much the Saquon Barkley show, and the defense has taken a massive step back from last year. Not that they were world beaters last year anyway. That being said, Brian Daboll and Daniel Jones are reportedly both returning next year, which does not surprise me in the slightest because money is an object. And I'm taking the Commanders to cover this and go over, probably by themselves.
Yeah, again, everything you just said, copy and paste. You literally took the words right out of my mouth. Giants are in shambles, and because every team in the NFL knows that you're going to hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, there's nothing you can do.
This is another good one. I agree with Z Money here. I have been like the biggest Darren Waller hater in the world. And he had a good 3 or 4 week stretch in the beginning of the season. And that's about it. I mean, this is a guy who in 2 of his 9 seasons, he's been a top 5 tight end. That's not top 5. That's not a guy that I'm looking to try and build my offense around, especially if it's somebody who can't stay on the field. I was so lost with this, and they need to make a serious move for a legitimate wide receiver, somebody that can kind of take over the game and win themselves. I mean, T. Higgins should be a free agent. Maybe they'll draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Who knows what the situation is with the Giants, but they have to find somebody that can win on the outside.
Sorry, I'm hearing people outside my window here. Next game, we got the Buccaneers at 4-5 visiting the 49ers at 6-3. 11.5-point favors of the Niners. Over under is 41.5. I mean, but the way the 49ers played last week in Jacksonville, I gotta go with the 49ers on this one. 11.5. That's a big number.
I don't know about 11.5.
You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take them to cover. And I say this game goes over 41.5 points. It looks like the bye week was a nice little reset for the 49ers. They came back last week again against a pretty good Jacksonville Jaguars team in Jacksonville and really gave it to them.
Team money reacts. I did a dumb trade. Someone take my team away. Let's hear the trade.
Yeah, send us a screenshot, or can you? Probably can't send a screenshot. Just tell us what it was.
Yeah, just type it out. We'll continue with our evaluation of this game while we await.
Yes, but yes, I think the bye week was a good reset for the 49ers. They came out and played really well last week, and I think they're going to come out and play really well against the Buccaneers here. So give me the 49ers to cover 11.5 points and the over.
This is a bit of an interesting game for me. I feel like that logic that you use to take the cover is a bit of a trap. The Buccaneers have played pretty good football this year. They haven't been outstanding, right? But they've hung in games. They've played tough. Baker Mayfield's played better than we all expected. 49ers, yeah, the bye week for them came at the right time because they needed Trent Williams, they needed Deebo Samuel to come back, they needed Brock Purdy to get his head right, and all of that kind of took to shape last week against the Jaguars, who actually we all picked, and we were all wrong. Actually, I think one person picked the 49ers. That being said, the Jags are, at least this year, notoriously bad at home. All three of their losses are at home. I'm still taking the 49ers. I just don't like 11.5. I think that's too high, even at home. I'm going to take them not to cover, and I'm taking the under. I think that this ends up being quite a defensive battle. The Buccaneers are still very good against the run, which will put the 49ers in position to have Brock Purdy beat them, which, he's played very well so far since he's taken over the starting role. But leaving a team one-dimensional does make it a little bit easier on the defense.
Yeah,
We've got the trade.
8-man PPR.
So 8-man PPR, flex, Burrow, Eckler, bench Dobbs, Fields, McBride, James Conner, Rice, Lions defense. Okay.
That's not the trade.
Got
Kelsey and Deebo for Josh Allen.
I traded Kelsey and Deebo for Josh Allen and Kincaid. I hope this is 2 quarterback.
Yeah,
that would be my hope.
He didn't say that.
Yeah.
Then traded Connor and Kincaid.
Then I traded Connor and Kincaid for Laporta and Nico. I don't really hate that one. That one's not terrible. Probably would have kept Connor, though. And now I got 3 QBs like a dummy. Should have rocked out with Dobbs. I agree with that. Took the words right out of my mouth. Should have rocked with Dobbs, baby. Especially once Jettis comes back in week 12.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that first trade really set you up for failure. You had the guy at tight end. Like Travis Kelce is as it comes.
Yeah, there's a few players that I'm not trading if I've got them, and I traded you Kelce earlier in the year, but at this point, I think you need to hold on to him. Especially
you got a good return out of it.
I got a great return out of it. I thought it was a solid trade.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on.
Miles Sanders just screwed me over.
Yeah. The Jets at 4-5 are visiting the Bills at 5-5. 7.5-point favorites are the Bills, who just fired their offensive coordinator. Over under is 39.5. Ryan, you get first pick of this one. Keep in mind, week 1, the Jets beat the Bills.
I'm gonna take the Bills here. 7.5 is no. New offensive coordinator coming in. This is a team that they've already lost to. The Bills look like they're kind of reeling. So I'm taking the Bills not to cover. The only reason I'm taking the Bills, quite frankly, is because with the Joe Burrow injury out for the season, Deshaun Watson out for the season, there's a glimmer of hope that this team could steal a wild card spot. I mean, there's potential that they could win that division too, right? Miami's only up a game, and the Bills own the tiebreaker right now. So they could actually win the AFC East too. But there's glimmers of hope for them to rebound and get to the playoffs here. I think that's a little bit added motivation for them. So I'm taking the Bills not to cover. And man, that over-under is tough. I'm going to take the under.
Okay, so
Josh Allen really struggles to throw the football in his career against the Jets.
Yeah, this game's going to be a wash. All four of us took the same thing. Bills not to cover in the under. The Bills just haven't looked good. Josh Allen is turning the football over at an alarming rate. I know he always turns the ball over a lot, but right now it's at an alarming rate. And for whatever reason, they just can't. They're perfectly fine moving within the 20s, but as soon as they get in the red zone, it's like turnover city, or they just can't move the rock at all. So yeah, I'm taking the Bills.
I saw a stat on that. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I saw a stat on Twitter earlier that said Josh Allen leads the league in turnovers, right? But he has the 7th best turnover, worthy passes, turnover worthy plays in the league. He's 7th best. So I guess based on those statistics, however much you believe in them, he's just getting unlucky.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, Gabe Davis let those passes go right through his hands.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Moving on. Seahawks at 6-3, visiting the Rams at 3-6. It's a division game. Seahawks are favored by 1.5 on the road. Over under is 46.5. I mean, I got the Seahawks here. They aren't playing as good as we thought they were going to be coming into the season. But that Rams team just doesn't look. I know they get Stafford back. Yeah, Kupp is on the field, but they're having a hard time establishing any kind of offense there. And for the Rams, so give me the Seahawks here. 1.5 points. I mean, you got to take them to cover that. I don't think this is a shootout, so I'm going with the under here. 46.5. Yeah, 21-17. Yeah. So yeah, give me the Seahawks to cover on the under.
Man, this has upset potential reeking all over it. Stafford coming back, like you said. I expect the Rams offense to be, kind of kick it in gear, maybe move the football on the ground a little bit better, with the Seahawks defense obviously taking a step back from last year. Still a young, talented defense, but they're not helping out their offense a ton right now. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to win. And this is strictly a hedging the bet here. I'm taking them not to cover. So hopefully they win by 1 point. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, and I'm taking the over. I think that this ends up a shootout. I don't like either of these defenses, particularly Seattle's, but I think that Stafford coming back is huge for the Rams and their offense. I think that they get moving the football again.
All right, Jake takes the Seahawks to cover and the over, Rams and the over for Tim. Next game, we got the Vikings at 6-4, visiting the Broncos at 4-5. Broncos coming off of 3 straight wins. 2.5 point favorites are the Broncos. Over under is 42.5. Ryan, you go.
Saying on a neutral field that this game is a wash as far as the spread goes, basically is what Vegas is telling us here. Broncos do have some momentum. However, I don't think they have as much momentum as the Vikings do. The Vikings started this season 1-4. And, Josh Dobbs coming in, doing what he did 2 weeks ago, coming in last week, winning them a football game. He's just going to be more and more comfortable in that offense. That being said, these are probably 2 of the hottest football teams in the league right now when you think about, teams that aren't obviously top tier. I'm taking the Vikings, and I'm taking the over. The Broncos defense, been kind of wishy-washy this year, better as of late. But the Vikings, man, Josh Dobbs, I think he's on a heroic kind of story arc here, and he is this generation's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, that's a really true statement. I'm also going to ride the Vikings. The Dobbs story is just absolutely crazy when you think about he showed up on a Wednesday, had to go into the game because of an injured quarterback, brings him back to win, and then obviously he plays really well last week to get the victory there as well. But yeah, give me the Vikings, and I'm also going to go with the over. Again, neither defense really jumps off the page and makes me think they're going to hold the other team to less than 3 or 4 touchdowns. So yeah, give me the over. Vikings and the over. Monday Night Football. We have the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. 8-1 Eagles, 7-2 Chiefs. Rematch of last year's Super Bowl. 2.5-point favorites are the Chiefs at home. Over under is 45.5. Listen, I agree with Vegas is telling us here. We just talked about it, right? At a neutral site.
Neutral field. It's close. I mean, it was on neutral field last year. It was a 3-point game.
Exactly. 45.5 is the over under. I'm definitely taking the over here.
Mm-hmm. Especially teams coming off of bye weeks. I'm taking the smash over.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those things, right? Where I'm going to win or I'm going to be happy.
Yep.
But the Chiefs are the home team. The Chiefs are the home team. I got to take the Chiefs on this one. If it's in Philly, I take Philly. The Chiefs to cover a 2.5-point spread. I think it's a 3-point game again in Kansas City. And I'm smashing the over as hard as I possibly can on everything. Every betting website that Ryan and I finally realized we could play on, I'm hitting the over on everything. Listen, Patrick Mahomes has been playing a lot better the last few weeks. I don't know if it's just like the repetitions he's getting with the wide receivers. He's feeling a little bit more comfortable with those young guys, especially Rashee Rice. And they're playing McKinnon a lot more, I noticed. Not even just on third down. They're putting him in the backfield, using him in different ways. And then obviously Travis Kelce's always got two guys defending him, which opens up other stuff down the field. And then obviously he improvises. And he's the best in football to do it. As good as Jalen Hurts is, it's Patrick Mahomes is better at improvising. Big Red coming off a bye is a big thing too.
Patrick Mahomes is the ultimate off-script playmaker.
Correct. Also, Big Red's record coming out of a bye week is, I think he's like 21-1 in his career. So he's going to have the Chiefs ready, and they're the home team.
This should be a very good game. I'm very excited to watch this football game.
Yeah, Chiefs covering the over. Ryan.
I'm going to zig off that a little bit. I'm taking the Chiefs not to cover. Strictly hedging my bet there again. You'll hear me say that a lot. And I'm taking the over, right? This way I'm guaranteed to at least get one game out of this. But Eagles fan first. However, as a football fan, man, I'm excited to watch this. This should be a really good game. And it should be the start of plenty of good games for the Eagles, especially coming up. They've got a tough stretch. So
they do.
I am looking forward to this one.
Ryan convinced me to change it to no cover because I also would like to hedge my bet there. But yeah, let's get it. That's the end of our episode here. Thanks for joining us here on BSing.
We've got some comments here. We've got Chiefs. Well, I guess that's supposed to be Chiefs. We should try
win by 40.
Spell correct, maybe.
Chiefs win by 40. Yeah, seriously, doubt it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I would bet a lot of money that doesn't happen.
I think that's wishful thinking at a Z Money, the Cowboys fan. But Thanks for joining us here on BSing Sports, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Thank you and have a good night.